All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. And the QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous exercises that simulate real life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every single month, we come out with new exercises for you to practice and complete, and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. So today, we are going to be working in the November cool down section. At the top here is a little animated video to give you a synopsis of what's going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive quiz to test your knowledge. And at the bottom here are all of the exercises within this section. So today we are going to practice reconciling the bank accounts. You will need to be in the sample company. If you're not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, go ahead and click on the link below in the description. So our scenario today is that as a bookkeeper, your primary responsibility is to ensure that all financial transactions are correctly categorized and match the flow of money into and out of the bank. You have just received the monthly statements from Craig's Bank. Now it's time to confirm that all the transactions have been correctly added to and categorized in QuickBooks Online. To complete this activity, you will need a copy of Craig's bank statement. Click on the link underneath the cooldown video to grab a copy, as we'll use it for this exercise. And as a note here, if you are completing this exercise in the same session of the sample company as previous exercises in the previous sections, you may see some different transactions in your register. Don't worry about them, just stick with the bank statement. So let's go back to the gym here and grab the bank statement. Here underneath the animated video is a little button that says bank statements. Go ahead and click on that to download it. And once it has downloaded, you can go ahead and open it up. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Here is what it will look like for you. And as you can see, there's a savings summary and detail, and then the checking summary and detail. So both the savings and the checking are on the same bank statement. So there are several ways to begin a reconciliation, and we're going to use one of them to start. So to do that, we need to click on the gear icon and then select Reconcile. So here I am in the sample company. This is the dashboard. On the top right corner is the gear icon. Go ahead and click on that. And underneath tools, you're going to click on Reconcile. Now you will see this little pop-up up here for you. There's a little video and a little more information about reconciling, just QBO trying to be helpful. We are going to skip the video and everything right now. All you need to do is just click on the green Get Started button. And then you'll get this other pop-up here show up again. Again, go ahead and click on Let's Get Reconciled. Those pop-ups will only show up the first time that you do any kind of reconciliation. After that, you'll come right to this page. So that's step 2 and 3. So note that this bank combines both the savings account and checking account into one statement, as I mentioned before. Since it appears first on the statement, we're going to start with the savings account, but you can honestly just do it in any order you want. So step 1, we need to, in the account dropdown, select savings. So here is the dropdown, click into it and then select savings because that is the account that we want to reconcile. We need to enter the ending balance, which is found on the sample bank statement. So if you click into it, you will see that the ending balance is $800. So let's go ahead and put that in here as the ending balance. And then for the date, we're just going to type a lowercase t to enter today's date. In a real life scenario, though, you would use the ending date that is on the bank statement. We don't have any here because the sample company is always changing dates, and so we're leaving it very open-ended here. You can just use today's date for the exercise. So click into the box, type a lowercase t, it'll show the ending date for today, and then you can go ahead and click on the green Start Reconciling button. And this page will appear. If you get any pop-ups, just go ahead and click out of them. QBO is just trying to be extra helpful for us. So before we move on to the reconciliation, let's take a minute to review what you are actually looking on the screen. Keep in mind, I'm going to use these screenshots because we already have things called out here. So it's a little bit easier to decipher it, but know that the numbers on this screen and the account are not going to reflect necessarily what is in this exercise. It's just for illustration purposes only. So the first thing right here, this beginning balance, this is the ending balance from the last time that you reconciled. It is set in stone, cannot be changed. The statement ending balance is from the bank statement. It's what we just entered on that previous screen. So for the savings account, it was that $800. You, if you discover that you have put in the incorrect statement ending balance or the statement ending date, you can always edit it by just clicking on this Edit Info button. Next, you will see next to all the transactions, you will see these little circles. Now, when you have found the transaction to be in the bank statement and matching here in QBO, you would click on the little circle and it would become a blue check mark, making that showing that it is clear, just like when you are processing the bank feeds. Now, when the transaction has been checked, it will move up here to the corresponding payment or deposit, depending on which type of transaction it is. The cleared balance is the beginning balance minus the payments and deposit will end up right here. The difference here is the difference between the statement ending balance and the cleared balance. The ultimate goal here is to have this as 0. If you have it as 0, the difference is 0, then that means that you have reconciled everything and everything is matching up properly. It's very satisfying as a bookkeeper. And then one little thing here, when you are doing reconciliation, currently the transactions show only the dates, only transactions that are dated on or before the statement ending date. You can always turn this off by just clicking on the little X next to statement ending date to remove that filter. And you may need to do this if you have transactions that were added with an incorrect date. These are often referred to as hidden or rogue transactions. So just know that if you're trying to find something and it's not showing up here, you can always remove this filter and see if possibly it is there. It's just with an incorrect date. So in the remaining steps of this exercise, we are going to complete the reconciliation by checking each transaction until the difference is 0. If you already have any blue check marks on your screen, just uncheck them individually, or you can uncheck all at once by just clicking on there's a button on the top. You can just select all and then unselect all of them. You need them all off basically for this exercise. So if you have any on, just make sure that they are turned off and that all of your circles are blank. So when we start with reconciling in the sample company, there's always going to be navigation pop-ups, as I showed on the previous, as I mentioned earlier, when the screen popped up. Just make sure that you close out of them. So for the for the savings account, luckily there is only one transaction here. So this is very easy to go ahead and match up. Let's look at it. It says deposit to checking for $200. And if we see here, that is exactly what it is showing here. So you can go ahead and click on the circle right there to have it checked off. And you will see when we do that, that the difference is now 0, which is exactly what we want. So we have already finished reconciling this account. All we need to do now is just click on the green Finish Now button, which is up here on the top right screen. You will notice that when you did that, you have a little pop-up that says you reconciled this account, which is great. In real life, there would be another button here that says Attach Statement. It gives you an opportunity to attach the statement for that month right here. Always a good idea to have an extra documentation here in QBO. The sample company does not have this option, so there is nothing there, but just know in real life, you do have that option. So go ahead and click on the green Done button. And we have returned to the reconciliation screen. And that's what step 7 is here. This is actually what it looks like in the actual QBO, not the sample company. All right, so now let's turn our attention to the checking account. Once again, we are going to fill out this first page. The account dropdown needs to be checking, since that is what we are going to reconcile now. Click on that arrow, click on checking. Then we need to enter the ending balance that is found on the sample bank statement. So if we open this back up, we see here in this checking summary that the ending balance is $4,285.62. So 4285.62, I think is what I just said. 4,285.62. 85.62. Yep. And then once again, for the statement ending date, we are going to use today's date for the purposes of this exercise, but in a real life scenario, you would use the ending date from the bank statement. So go ahead and click into it, type a lowercase t, and when you do, it'll put the date for today. We're all good here, so just click on the green Start Reconciling button. And when you do, you will see all of the transactions in the checking account. Even though we just clicked out of all of those pop-ups, go ahead and click out of them again. It's, again, QBO just making sure that you're all good and you don't need extra help. So using the sample bank statement, we are going to check off all of the transactions that are on there. We'll discuss any of the unchecked transactions in the next few steps. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Looking at the sample bank statement, we see this first one here is for Robertson Associates for $300. That is right here. Go ahead and click on the little circle next to that. We have another one or a deposited check for $175. So let's see if we have that. Oh, that happens to be the next one. Great. The next is, again, Robertson Association for $250. There it is right there. Board of Equalization for $38.50. So $38.50. This is the one we want. Board of Equalization is a sales tax payment, so that's why it's there. Check number 12 for $55. Let's see, check number 12, that reference number column is the check number, or shows the check number. So check number 12 for $55. Go ahead and click on that. Tanya's Nursery for $89.89. Well, here's Tanya's Nursery for $89.09. So that's a little bit off. We're going to skip that one and then come back to it. Hicks Hardware for $250. So let's scroll a little bit. There's Hicks Hardware right there, $250. Go ahead and click on that. Another one for Tanya's Nursery, this one for $108.09. 108, let me make sure. Here it is, $108.09. Go ahead and click on that. A deposit check from Kate Whalen, not a check, for $225. Here's Kate for $225. Click on that. Then we have another deposited check for $105. Let's look for that. Right underneath it from Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Click on that circle. Debit for Hicks Hardware for $24.36. Let's see if we can find that. $24.36. I may have messed it up the top. Let's see. Hicks. Oh, it was right here. Just hiding from me. $24.36 from Hicks Hardware. There we go. Then we have one for Squeaky Clean for $19.99. That is right here, right underneath that. And as a quick note here, there is a second one that I know of for Squeaky Clean for the exact same amount. In real life, you want to make sure that the date that is showing on the bank statement is matching the one that is here. So if you have two of the exact same charge for the exact same vendor, you want to look at the date to match what is on the bank statement, and then you want to investigate what that other one is, just in case it's a duplicate, or maybe it is a second charge just from a different date. So let's continue on here. We have another debit charge from Bob's Burger Joint for $5.66. That's the next one underneath here. Then another one for the Arizona Department of Revenue for $38.40. That's another sales tax payment. I think that was up here. Yep, $38.40. Click on that. Check 69 for $100. Let's see if we can find that one. That is right here for Tony for the legal and professional. Another debit charge for Chin's Gas for $52.14. That is this one right here. Click on that circle. For Hall Properties, we have a $900 payment, so that happens to be right here. Go ahead and click on that. Then a deposit for $694. That happens to be the next one for Cool Cars. Where am I at? Okay, check number 2 for $18.08. It's the next one from Mahoney Mugs right there. That check. Then we have another debit from for Hicks Hardware, another payment for $215.66. That's the next one right here. Then we have a check deposit for $337.50. That happens to be the next one right here. Then another payment for Bob's Burger Joint for $3.86. That's the next one right there. A deposit check for $140. 140. I do not see it. So we will need to come back to that one. And then we have a deposit for cash for $78.75. So let's see if there's a deposit for that. And there is not. So we need to do a little investigation for a couple of those. The difference is showing right now is $28.86. So we're close to the zero, but we're not quite there yet. So let's take a look at those transactions that did not match. You'll notice that there are some checks that were written, but they didn't show up on the bank feed. This isn't unusual as people frequently take a while to cash checks. What is slightly odd, though, is that the fact that Chin's Gas and Oil doesn't seem to have any cashed. So this may be something worth following up on, especially if those outstanding checks get quite old. So next we're going to look at the one for Tanya's Nursery. If you remember, the transaction in QBO says that it's for $89.09, but the bank transaction says $89.89. It looks like someone entered the expense incorrectly, so this is a very easy fix. When faced with a discrepancy like this, the bank is always right, so you need to make the change in QBO. Luckily, this one is, as I mentioned, very easy to do. So we're going to click anywhere on the Tanya's Nursery transaction and then change the amount to $89.89 and then select Save. So the one for Tanya's Nursery, that $89.09 is what it's showing now. Click anywhere on that line. And then in the amount here, just adjust it so that instead of saying 9 cents, it says 89 cents. And then you're going to click on the green Save button. And now that has been updated, we can go ahead and click on the little checkbox because we know that it has been properly matched to what is on the bank statement here. So it's also curious that the payment received from Freeman Sporting Goods has not cleared. So let's find out a little bit more about that transaction. Once again, we are going to click anywhere on the Freeman Sporting Goods transaction and then click on Edit. So that is the one, where is it? Freeman Sporting Good, where are you? There's Freeman Sporting Good. Let me make sure that that's not, nope, this is the one I want right here. This received payment that says for the reference number says 5664. Go ahead and click into that one right there. And then we're going to click on Edit. So click on the white Edit button right there to see that receive payment show up for us. As you can see, this received payment was recorded having been deposited directly to the checking. You check the drawer where Craig keeps his checks to take to the bank, and sure enough, there's a check waiting there to be deposited. So this is a very easy fix as well. Under Deposit To, we're going to select Undeposited Funds. So right now it's saying that it went directly to the checking. It should be in undeposited funds because until those checks actually make their way to the bank, this is a holding account for you. So that is the one that we want to have it as. And then we are simply going to save and close this transaction. So click on the little arrow down here and then select Save and Close. It's going to have this little pop-up here, and it's saying that you're editing something that was linked to something else and asking if you want to modify it. It's linking to the original invoice, which hasn't changed, so it's totally fine to proceed. Go ahead and click on the green Yes button. And now that has been adjusted for us. So at this point, all that's left is the two deposits. The difference, you see that the difference shows as $218.75, and there is a deposit for that amount, but it's not showing on the bank statement. So let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and click anywhere on that deposit that says $218.75 and then click on Edit. So let's look for that deposit here. Here it is right here. This is the same number that's matching here. So it's kind of curious that maybe there's something going on with it. Click into it. Split means that there's multiple checks or transactions involved with that. So go ahead and click on the Edit button. And as you see, there's some checks and cash. They are all showing on this particular bank deposit. So we see on this deposit that it consists of a cash payment from Pies Cakes and then another payment, likely a check, since that's what it says on the bank statement, from Diego Rodriguez. It seems that the bank recorded these as two separate deposits. The absolutely correct way to fix this would be to edit this bank deposit record to just for just one of them, and then create another bank deposit transaction on the same date for the other transaction. While technically correct, that level of precision might be a little bit of overkill. So for the purposes of this exercise, we're just going to do the most simple route and reconcile the lump deposit that appears in QBO. So we're just going to click on the X to cancel that. And here you can see this one is checked here for $140, this Pies Cake for $78.75, which happens to be exactly how the bank split it out on the statement. So let's close out of this bank deposit by clicking on that X. And then we're going to go ahead and click on the circle next to that deposit to clear it. So here is that line. Click on the circle right there, and you will notice that when you do that, the difference is now 0, which means that everything is showing up properly between the bank statement and what is in QBO. So go ahead and click on that green Finish Now button. Once again, this little pop-up has showed up for you, and it's just saying that you've reconciled the account, and it will give you an opportunity to attach a statement right here in real life. Highly recommend doing that. In the sample company, they don't have it, so we're just going to click on the green Done button. And now that is all finished. So we are finished reconciling both the checking and the savings account. Credit card statements typically come on a different schedule from bank statements. So you are all finished with reconciling the bank accounts today. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just go ahead and click on the link below in the description. We are moving through the cool down section with our next exercise where we practice running Craig's reports. And I will see you in the next video.